Hi, it's Charlene. I'm bringing another story to you today, a wonderful ghost story. This one I was excited when I came across it. I didn't realize there was a haunting. Um, to give you a little bit about the story that I know, I'm not sure if you've watched The Tudors, but I watched it and loved it. I think it was a series on TV. I didn't watch it when it was airing, but I watched it afterwards. The Tudors I found to be very interesting. I'm not a big history buff. Sometimes I can find it to be a little boring, but the show really brought a lot of excitement and life to the story. There's so much to tell. And this particular story that I'm bringing to you today is the ghost of Anne Boleyn. I'm going to read a little bit, so if you'll forgive me. Anne Boleyn is the second wife of King Henry VIII. She began her fateful marriage to the king in January 1533. They did have a daughter during their marriage, but 3 years after their marriage, after she failed to produce a son, Boleyn was put on trial for the fake, trumped-up charges of adultery and incest. A lot of people came forward claiming to have relations with her, even though they didn't. And I think the incest came from supposed relations with her brother. On May 19th, 1536, she was beheaded for the charges of adultery, against the king. He liked to behead, so it's no wonder that he also did behead Anne Boleyn. Today, her headless figure is said to drift from the Queen's house, which was built on the grounds after her death. She would roam from that particular area to the spot where her remains are buried. And in some accounts, her form is intact, which means she still has her head because she was beheaded. But her face is averted, and she leads a ghostly procession down the aisle of the chapel to the altar, maybe where she was actually married. Tower sentries have also reported encounters with the misty figure of a woman wearing a cloak with an empty hood. And some tower visitors have glimpsed her pacing the tower green with her head beneath her arm. And again, she was beheaded, so it's logical that some people might see her carrying her head. And I think she was definitely wronged, I believe, so she would want to maintain that sense of self about her and take her head with her as she walks the grounds. Now, while the Tower of London is the site most famously haunted by the ghost of Anne Boleyn, her spirit doesn't seem to be restricted to that area. Each year on the anniversary of her execution, she'll be observed at her birthplace, which is Blicking Hall in Norfolk. She arrives in a ghostly carriage pulled by 6 headless horses and driven by a headless coachman. Now, when they reach the front door, she carries her severed head inside and roams the halls until daybreak. And so it's really probably no wonder that she brings an entourage, as she was the queen at the time. Well, alleged queen. If you watch the show or know any of the stories, she may or may not have been legally the wife. But that's another story. But there have been more peaceful sightings of Anne Boleyn as well. Reported at Hever Castle, which was her childhood home, where she often appears on Christmas Eve, crossing a bridge to the castle grounds. So I hope you enjoyed that story of Anne Boleyn. Her story just really touches me because after watching TV, how much can you say that you've learned from history, but it was really a sad story of what happened to her. And again, she was, according to the accounts, wrongfully accused, and it was, I guess, the king's right, I guess, if you will, to have her put to death for, believed adultery. So I hope you enjoy, and if you have anyone you want me to talk about, any famous hauntings, please feel free to let me know. I'd be more than happy to do it because I just love to learn about them on my own. So I hope you enjoy. Have a great day. Bye.